Brand new life. Brand new life. Well, I started brand new life in my mind, and well, no, I ain't even gonna say in my mind because as quick as I thought about it, I wrote it down. It was definitely in 2005. I was in a New York State Penitentiary, Cayuga Correctional Facility. I was laying in my bunk, right, and I did a lot of reading when I was locked up. I was inspired a lot by what I read. When I was in prison, when I used to read the Don Divas and all of those different type of magazines that was floating around in, I used to read about a lot of the dope boys, that I looked up to, like just through the street, through word of mouth, hearing about, Alpo, Preem, and Pappy. And I was like, 14, 13, 14 when they was like really moving and shaking. But they legend lived on to, when in my 20s, I was very much inspired by them, just how they did it on next level, the names and how they was in and out of town in different cities, putting it down, getting mad bread. And I noticed that a lot of the options that the dudes that I once looked up to and now I'm in prison reading about, they all seem to be business savvy, and they all had some sort of other talent that they never really fed. Lifestyle kind of like became them. That's what they became, and they set their talent to the side. So back to brand new life. I was reading about these guys. We all had so much to offer, but instead we was consumed by the streets. That's why I always big up certain people, man. People like Master P. P was in them streets like me. I was getting to it. I don't know how P was getting to it. Myth says he was getting to it, but he was able to step out before he ended up like me with life in prison. Same with Jay-Z. Same with what's my man in them from Rough Riders, D and them boys. I hear them boys was getting to it, but they was savvy. And if I like to call them smart, man, in the sense where they didn't let the streets consume them. They might have dabbled and was getting it, but at some point made that transition. That's something I didn't get. But it only helped me once I got to prison and start reading the books, because I had a regret. Some people say don't live with regrets. I regretted it, being honest, that I didn't take my my gift and use it for, at least pour more into it. So I didn't end up in this position. I could have made that transition. So I start to dig deep, kind of like do an inventory on the talents and the gifts that I had. And one thing that I always like to do, I like to stay fly. Here's my book. I don't know if y'all can see this, but I don't know if it's focus or not. Let's get it forward. Whatever. Nevada's Death. If you can see, the boy had a chinchilla on with the hat and all that. I like to stay fly. As you can see, the zebra print. Brand new life. Make a long story short, I realized I had a fashion bug, a passion for fashion. I'm laying in my cube on a bunk and I was reading. And I said, hey, a clothing line. I'm gonna start a clothing line if I ever make it back to the street. So I grabbed my pad. Anybody in prison that was getting to it, that was, trying to rise to another level and come home and do it. We all had pads. We all rolled all day, read all day, rolled all day, read all day, rolled all day. So I grabbed my pad, I wrote it down, and I started grabbing magazines. I had some magazines under my bunk, so I grabbed some magazines, opened them up, looking at them. Man, that's fly right there. If I had a clothing line, I wouldn't use that shirt. I don't like the style of that shirt. I don't like the collar on that shirt. But that print is fire. So I would literally take the toothpaste, which is the jailhouse glue, cut the print out. Think about it, you ain't never been to jail. The toothpaste is sticky. So it was sticky enough for me to cut the little thing out with precision. Though I ain't just rip it out. I cut that joint out like I was crafting an outfit. Cut it out, boom. I have my notes. I have what I'm talking about. I still have them with coffee stains and all that on them, but they preserved. They'll be in a museum one day. But anyway, and as time went by, I would be going through magazines. I could be in a law library, wherever I was at. When I seen a magazine, it would just come to me if I seen something that was fly. And there was always something I could see in a particular piece of garment or outfit or a hat or a jacket that I really liked. And I would just cut it out and I would paste it and I would put under it what I specifically liked. And then I start writing down names, various names that I would choose from at some point. Brand New Life was one of them. Really it was New Life. And my wife one day would just say, brand new life. You live in a brand. I'm like, well, you would come up with that. You know what I'm saying? She's the queen. She comes up with some sensational ideas. So I said, brand new life. Cool. So I was like, brand new life. I like that. I'm living a new life, but the brand is the new life. It's different ways you could freak it. You could twist it. So I was like, okay, I'm going to get a logo made for it. And then in my mind, I saw like a cow being branded because I knew that's what I wanted to do for the brand. So I hit a graphic designer and gave him some ideas, and he sent me back some stuff that was close, not quite, but I was so excited that I ran with the best version of what they sent me. I think it was like 5 different ones. Put a shirt or something up of the Brand New Life when I first got it. You could see that. All right. Y'all see that? Okay, now put one up how I revised it maybe like 6 months later. And I kind of cleaned it up. So basically you can see I had went on a tour. Right now I had been home for about, now I started this in 2005 in prison. I had been home for about 3 years, maybe 3 years. I think it was, it was more than 3 years, maybe 5 years I was home. I had went on a tour. Shout out to Mike Peace. I went on a tour in Kentucky, in Louisville. And when I got back, I had I had a nice little piece of bread. And I'm like, dang, what am I gonna invest this in? Because I was always thinking about investing. I don't want to spend. I don't want to save. So I knew what I'm gonna invest in. I'm praying, thinking. It came to me eventually. Yo, get the stuff to start your clothing brand. So I took every last dime I had and put it into all the machinery and all of that. I started, man. It took me about a month, man, because I couldn't figure the machines out. They were very technical, and I hadn't had any experience. So it was extremely frustrating to the point where I gave up for about a month because I had messed up so much material, messed up so many shirts, and I didn't want to outsource them. To each his own. If you outsourcing, that's dope. You know what I'm saying? What works for you? But me, I wanted to. It was a little bit more personal for me. So the colors and the fabrics and stuff like that, I wanted to have my hands in it. Definitely once I perfected it, I would outsource it at some point. But I needed to be able to work with it first to get the experience. So I gotta say, man, it turned out incredible. I had a studio, and then like first most of the rappers and the singers, they come through, and I had like mannequins with my stuff on it. You know what I mean? I'm about this bread. You understand me? You come into the studio, you got to walk by this gear before you get up in the studio, and it works. You do, yo, man, what's this? Oh, that's my line. Yo, that's crazy, the color, because I stay with the prints and the camos and all of that stuff that I like. That's what the idea originated, stuff that I would wear. So it did cool, man. Immediately I seen some revenue, and I seen some consistent revenue. I want to say it was because I had such a consistent small level of success, but it was consistent, because you know that if you got a leak in your faucet and one drop come out, if that drop is consistent, take your butt on vacation and come back and see, don't you have a flood? So that's what happened with me. It consistently came in that drop. So I said, wait a minute, man, this is basically a proof of concept, meaning there's a demand for what you got. So I printed up a bunch of stuff, all custom stuff. Started out with about, man, I might have had like 20 different sets, which drove me nuts. That's another story. But I hit the streets, man, and I went back to my city. I always thought that the town didn't receive me well. You know, that's what I thought. And I know there's always a level of haters. Just make no mistake about it. I got dudes to this day that hate. From a small minority of haters, somehow I believe the whole city hated me. But boy, I tell you, when I came out with that Brand New Life, boy, listen, the first 3 days I was out, I remember vividly, because the second day I was riding home, because I'm living in Buffalo, but I traveled back to the Falls with my family there and stuff like that. And that's where I came up. So I, went back, and man, listen, when I say that second day when I was driving back, I was going over the Grand Island Bridge in order to get to Buffalo. And my both of my pockets were stuffed with money. So, me being on the road and traveling, transport, work for years, I'm nice with the knee. I throw the knee up under the steering wheel, go in my pocket, getting all the money together. I see all these hundreds, 50s, 100, 50. When I counted the money, man, and that second day, I want to say I made about $4,200, man, just in the street, riding around in my pickup truck. I had a boutique set up in the back of the truck. And I mean, when I say they was at me, man. And I got emotional, man, because I thought my city didn't like me. But that showed me that my city had love for me. Now, I'm sure, there was others who purchased for whatever reason, but we not shedding no light on that. We shedding light on the love. And the majority of that was love. So the lesson out of that is everybody don't hate you. Everybody don't hate you. Just a few. Now, they consistent with the hate, so it's kind of powerful. But that's the minority, not the majority. I'm riding back after I count my money. I think I got to like 4,000, 39, 3,700, something like that. I remember it's 3,000, high 3,000. And my eyes start watering up because I had like this this moment where I was like, dang, man, they mess with the kid. They mess with the kid. And I realized that when I would go to hit somebody with an outfit or whatever, they all had a story like, yo, man, I remember you was this and this and that. And these people that I never really spoke to on a regular, because in the streets, I was like real standoffish. I didn't really, you know what I'm saying, communicate well with others. Because, you know, when I was young, they gunned my man down when I was 16. And that was the big homie. Shout out to Tone Bennett. You know, so when he died, I became callous. I just like everybody else was outsiders, you know what I'm saying? Which was insane, but young and lost, you know what I'm saying? But I grew up with that mindset. So I used to think everybody hated me, man. I didn't realize that it was far more many people actually loved me. And they showed it. Brand New Life, man, it's a clothing brand. And I have aspirations. Like when I buy the things, I try to get the best quality that I can get my hands on. Obviously, there's levels to this, and at some point, you know, I'll climb the levels when God open them doors. It's a clothing brand with purpose. I say it's where passion meets fashion, you know, or purpose meets fashion, depending on the day you ask me. So I want to just thank everybody, man, for supporting me, and ask that you would continue to support me. You would share the videos. Website is www.shopbrandnewlife.com. This is not just a t-shirt with a slogan on it. This thing is for real. Brand New Life. If you know my story, you know I'm absolutely living a brand new life. I was supposed to be the dead because I was getting to that bag at a high level for many years. I came home in my prime. Young and in my prime, I had the choice to go back to the game various times and coming in at a high level, and I didn't want to do it. That's to me the definition of living a brand new life. With that being said, you know, Brand New Life, it's the brand, baby. Welcome to the life. Fonz Carter, stay tapped in. I got a podcast coming up. Shout out to Demand Studios. I got some good content coming for y'all, man. So keep supporting the kid, man. Peace and love. It's a brand new life thing, baby.
It's a brand new life thing. It's a brand new life thing. It's a brand new life thing.